Hello, my name is Barry. Welcome to Christianity Explained. Today, I'm going to give you a bit of a tweet plus some memory lane. If you don't know, I used to be a fan of Joyce Meyer back in the 90s and the early part of 2000. It was mainly because I was suffering from depression, fear of rejection, all kinds of junk. And she had some teaching at the time that was actually very helpful to me. And combined with some good biblical teaching from Charles Stanley. Now, while I am thankful, I was aware that I needed to be careful and wary of what Joyce would teach, uh, especially since she was, at the time, part of the Word of Faith movement, but since moved on, she still holds on to some. And in the one uh, message she gave a long time ago, she told what I don't want to say parable because then people are going to get confused and upset. But it was a short story that she could use multiple times, and she did. She's going to touch on this towards the end. And this is part two of a much longer video. Uh, so I'm only going to share a couple of pieces, and then the famous tomato plant, and I'll of course share some comments and that. Oh, and some biblical perspective because it seemed like the Lord was bringing things to my mind uh, that He wanted me to see about staying in my lane and not worry. We'll get to that in just a bit. And let's see what uh, you may be getting, because truth is, we all need some encouragement and exhortation, even if it is coming from a certain life coach who gives sprinkling of Christianity. And I'm not the only one. All right, let's pause and I'll bring up the video in just a sec. In this video, in the original one, as you can see, staying in your lane, Joyce is going to start by making a point that we need to be a little more aware of what it is God called us to do and some of the stuff. Okay, that's helpful. And this might come as a surprise to you. She had no problem telling you, hey, if you're not good at it, don't. Yeah. And if you're looking for a Christopher Rothwell style, sorry, I try to do balance, be gracious. I'll point out the problem, yes, that I see. But I'm more of an exhorter and encourager. Uh, he's the teacher type. All right, let me get this up.
But if you're an 8 at something, you can focus on that and work with God, and you can become a 10 real quick.
Well, I don't know about that, Joyce. I can do a good job of writing, so I'm told, but that doesn't mean
the way to stand out
that's what God called me to do. That is, the Lord did give me some structure as a word, and it was just writing was a starting point. But that's not necessarily what I was called to do. Oh boy. But there's something in the race to do, I found that in the race to try and put out content and do videos, it is tempting to think, oh, The trending is over here, over there. Maybe no. I needed quite the peace of Christ in me to guide and direct me. I needed His word and His instruction on that, and being at peace in what God actually called me to do, and to recognize the strength He actually gave me. He didn't call me to be a Chris Roadbro. He didn't call me to be a public speaker like this. uh, no, He called me to be the person I am here doing this, and I do pretty well. But at the same time, and she's gonna kind of touch on it, but you need to go through preparation and that. You can't just dive into uh, YouTube or anything else and think, oh, you're going to be great overnight. No, it takes time. Stop on mic for a sec. If you missed it, she's loosely referencing Romans chapter 12, verses 6 through 8, where the body is made of multiple members and multiple parts. If, and we are given different gifts and grace to do what God calls us to do. If it's to prophesy, prophesy. If it's to exhort or encourage, to do that. If your heart is to serve, serve. You're gonna learn and you're gonna grow. Make no mistake. Uh, well, I appreciate her using uh, the team pastor. I don't know what Mike is, but I'm gonna skip and move on to the next segment. Oh no. Oh, hold on a sec. And the clip that I skipped because I didn't think it was really necessary, uh, I just felt it good to mention that you you'll find out what you're good at by taking risk. That's part of what faith is. And that's probably what she did and found out that, okay, yeah, I could have told go, you get there, you. But apparently from that clip, I gather she's probably not somebody I want as a pastor, even if I was willing to accept that. And it's true. We all have different abilities and that. And God will give you the grace to do what He called you to do, and not for what He didn't. And boy, we're gonna build. In this part, yeah. Let me just bring it up. Whoa, what the heck? Alright.
Oh, I better behave. Some of you are looking at me funny.
Yeah, I wonder why. Could it be because the audience knows what's coming?
Come on, just admit it. Don't you just get tired of the pressure? Does anybody just get tired of the pressure? You know what? Every pastor's wife doesn't have to play the piano and lead the ladies group at church.
Oh, wait. I know what you're talking about. Performance. And that's something I had to learn myself, is not pressure myself to perform and think, oh God, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. No, you don't. Focus on what I'm called to do. What well, I'm hesitant to say enjoy, uh, and I'll get back to that after she comments. No, not necessarily, my dear Joyce. Uh, You could be called to a career that may not be the most enjoyable thing in the world. That is true. But sometimes you have to start somewhere and work upward. And along the way, you learn certain skills, you learn certain things. I didn't enjoy doing the stuff of putting myself on display because people supposedly wanted to know about my disability and all that stuff. No, instead, I did that because there were lessons I had to learn along the way. It wasn't always do what you enjoy. Well, maybe I enjoy something, but that's not necessarily my call. And that's usually the trick is learning. And that's the best way to do it. Spend time in the Word, spend time in prayer, and listening to what God is saying. Not your favorite uh, preacher. Oh, and there are many people who can be called a preacher, but not necessarily preaching the Word of God. Uh, again, I like Joyce. I appreciate her. She was a big help back back in the days when I most needed it. I'm thankful that she got off her butt to do the very thing I needed to hear. Thank you. Still, I have to speak out proof of what what. Well, that's true. If you're miserable about what you're doing because you don't have the joy or peace, yeah, you are going to make other people miserable in that. And you're not going to be of value. Yes, there are going to be things that we do that we find frustrating. And sometimes, yeah, we want to go, oh my God, why did I, whatever. Those days will happen, even with someone we enjoy. I enjoy YouTube, and sometimes it is, and it is a challenge. Ah, that's the other thing. I had to learn not to be in competition with other people because that doesn't always help at all. Mm. Oh no. One second.
That you're in a relationship with unhappy. Because if
I'm repeating it because she's about to say something I think is worth hearing, and I'll comment. This gets, she's right. We have to take responsibility for what we choose to do and how we choose to react and respond. If you get a job as a waiter or a waitress, you need to take some responsibility how you do. Don't blame other people for for the problem. And yes, there are some skills, some jobs that you might not be gifted to, but you need to do. It's kind of like a step. And she enjoys this right. We shouldn't take things out. Bring it to the Lord. Bring it to prayer. Ask Him about what it is. Uh, Perhaps there's something He wants to do in that moment. Hmm. Perhaps there's some character thing. That's why I say, bring everything to the Lord. Ask Him for wisdom. Ask Him for that. Search what says in the Word, and let's not just react merely because oh, maybe I'm not gifted. Hmm.
but I had a love.
I want you to take note of what she's saying here. She's going to introduce somebody who's going to play a part in the tomato plant, and it's actually important. It's kind of building up to some of the things I had to learn. Well, I'll let Joyce tell you. Joyce, I don't think that's really a gift. That's more of a personality thing. I know she meant the administration try to lead with more the leadership than saying, you, get your butt over there and you, do this. I need you to do that. There's more to it than that. And there is a reason why men tend not to always react well when women do that. But then you see, here's the problem. Joyce was trying to compete with this woman. She was trying to say, oh, maybe if I could just be like this person who is not me, then maybe no. God obviously equipped that woman in such a way that she's able to do what she did with the sewing and all this other stuff. She could, all right. Not everyone is like that. My mom couldn't garden to save herself. She used to yell at me, Barry, you get out there, you garden. uh, yeah, except one problem. I'm not my father. My dad, he could garden. He could grow tomatoes and everything. Even tried doing it out in Phoenix, Arizona. That was my father. Me? Forget it. And I wasn't going to try to compete with a woman who used to be my neighbor before she passed on. My mom used to say, Barry, no," she would yell at me to, like she was in competition. And I'm like, no. But, and wait, and here's the fun part. The woman, my neighbor at the time, she grew up on a farm. She's used to getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and wake and do all that stuff. She knows how to. It's like, okay, I wasn't going to try competing with that woman. Oh God. And that, and when you do, well, as Joyce would point out, in her experience, and I've seen it in my own, when you compete against somebody else who you're seeing, oh, so much better than me, or something you're gonna make yourself miserable. Yes, we have to do some tough things at times. That is true, and sometimes we have some challenges that to grow us. We shouldn't be afraid of it, of conflict. We shouldn't be afraid of difficult times that we're going to go through. But at the same time, uh, we need to recognize that there's a big difference between going through challenging situations that will strengthen us and and prepare us for what God is calling us into, and just saying, "Well, I'm miserable doing this, so I'm not." No, I don't think Joyce was saying that either. Oh gosh, let me.
Out,
Oh, good grief.
you're learning anything.
Joyce, I think the problem is, my dear, is that you're more of an entertainer and than a teacher. And yes, sometimes we can learn in entertainment, mm, but that's your style. I realize. That's why I'm not gonna try and compete against with you on that. No, but see, that's something worth mentioning. Um, probably why, why I couldn't take her seriously as a teacher. Now let's move on to the tomato story. when I originally heard this, she told it a little bit different. Remember, I already knew, and she indicated as much in the story I heard originally in a different frame. Uh, how she had all this faith that, wow, I'm going to be able to grow. Uh, I'm standing on my face. I'm going to trust, believe that I can grow tomatoes just like my neighbor next door. I got the face thing. That's how she presented it. And when she did that, I immediately had yellow alert going off, like warning, saying, okay. But I had a sense like I've been told, Barry, wait for it. Oh, gosh. But she had the different teaching and different frame, so she didn't. And yes, I was weary when I heard. Oh,
Ate big holes in all my tomatoes.
yes, my dear George. I'm going to repeat what I believe I said. I don't remember the exact words. What I believe I said back then. Gee, Joy,
I mean, crop was ruined.
what happened to all that faith stuff you went on, Joy? I thought you were standing on your face, my dear. uh, if somebody from Joyce is, keep in mind, I'm filling in something based on a reframed sermon she gave back then, where she was making a point about the problem with the faith movement that she was seeing back then. Oh, but she's still right. Yeah, I wonder why she wasn't able to grow that beautiful tomato just like my neighbor across next door. Oh. You see, the point she was made in that original framing, and even here, i- God, if God wants you to do something, He will give you the power to do. He will uh, give you the instruction, all that, to do what He called you to do, and not something else. And that's kind of what Joyce was doing. She was trying to do something God never told her to do. That was something she did on her own strength. That was something she did. And all this. Mind you, this was a former faith, word of faith teacher. She's currently now a Pentecostal who still holds on to some of the teaching, as far as I know. uh, uh, Joyce, I have to appreciate you being willing to share that story again. Oh, gosh. And wait, and guess what? And for those of you who think she's there's all positive, well, she got an answer to that coming up. Oh, hmm. Oh, did you cut that last piece? Maybe God's opposing you because you're doing what He never told you to do. Oh my God. Oh, I got to give George credit for at least saying that. Ah, but what is it saying for me now? Well, let me pause. As much as I like having a little fun uh, listening to Joyce and even reacting, I do need to take some sober thought and ask the question. And I felt like the Lord saying, focus on what He called, where I'm an encourager. It's good that I learn how to handle the Word of God properly so that I am able to preach whatever it is I'm doing correctly. And I still need some fine tuning on it. Uh, and I and that's part of the reason I'm going to Congress because I'm not clear on which is which preaching sometimes. And that's good. It's good to stay and not chase after things. Don't. There's a reason I stayed away from some of the essay stuff uh, with Joni and all that. It's not so much fear. It's more like I'm not equipped to cover that kind of topic. And those are things that are not something I know I am able to do. and that and makes sense. And I did sense the Lord does open doors with some of the people I connect with that are great. And there are times, yes, I do need to speak up on false teaching, which I have done. I don't always think to give name, but I probably should sometime where appropriate. There's a lot of things I'm doing that I need to be. And yes, and be at peace. Am I going to have a tough time? Yes. Will you in doing the thing? Sure. But we're not to be discouraged when we have go through hard time and difficulties. In fact, I was listening to another person, Wanda and Alger, and she pointed out in the charismatic field don't have a lot of a good teaching on suffering to prepare her for it. I think I know somebody who can help. So I'll try to get a reaction video on that coming up possibly on Wednesday. All right. Yes. Some of y'all know exactly who I'm talking about. You'll, if not, you'll find out then. All right. I hope this was of some value and help. This is more of an attempt to be an encourager rather than someone teaching. All right. Hope you have a blessed day. See you when I see you.